Hey everybody, it's Bust with Battles with Bust number 15. Today we're going to be playing a little bit of Lulu Fizz. And so at first glance it may appear to just be, another aggro deck, but that has a little bit more going to it than that. And so you can take a peek at it and be like, oh man, you've got these ones and Fizz and the Urchin, you have all these value generating 2-drops and the twins, the baboon, and the telescope. And then you've got this big burn package over here to the right between the Mystic Shot, the Pokey Stick, and the Get Excited. But that's not really how it plays out. You will, of course, get some draws to where you just curve out and blast your opponent to the face a few times with Mystic Shots, but more often than not, you're trying to set up a way to get a big Yordles in Arms. Yordles in Arms is going to be the big key game ender that we're looking to build to here. And so the majority of the time you're playing this, you're not going to want to come down and just be trading with your opponent. It is going to matter, if you're able to just refill your board. But the big thing to keep in mind is that your big strategy to go for is on your opponent's attack token. You're going to try and get 6 units on the board, and then coming back to our attack token, we're going to try and play the boosted Yordles in Arms. So we get the full +4/+4 to an entire board. And then from that point, the game should just be over, right? We're going to run into like one of 3 situations whenever we play this Yordles in Arms. We're either going to have just a full board and we kill all of our opponent's units. So it's like if we have 6 and they have 6, we kill off all of our opponent's dudes. We probably just win the game from that point. You'll get some other wins to where your opponent only has like 2 units. You get to hook their 2 units out of combat, and then the remaining stats that you have from the Yordles and Arms just kills your opponent. Or you can get the elusive skill, right? If you have, say, a Fizz and 2 Poros from the Poro cannon on the board, that is 4 plus 12 stats, hit your opponent for the 16 damage, usually enough to close out the game. And so don't view yourself as, being something really, really aggressive. Yes, you'll get some aggressive draws to just end the game, but you have quite a bit of value generation, and you're looking to maximize the Yordles and Arms. And so then, some of the other combos that you'll kind of find yourself running into, the Lulu along with Flame Chompers is one of the kind of premier ways to control the mid game. Don't feel like you have to get super invested in this Lulu. She's probably going to die. If you get to attack with Lulu and she doesn't die, you've probably won the game anyways, but she should help you generate one of these Flame Chompers attacks to where you get to take down your opponent's strongest unit and then build up the board a little bit. Some of the other interesting things in here, we're playing the Hail Mary and Treasured Trash. This is, if it gets to turn 7 or turn 8, ideally we can randomly draw something pretty big to help close out the game. And then I have been grown more and more fond of Scrap Heap. There's quite a few good Mecha Yordles that we can be slamming into our opponents. This is a card I'm looking to add an additional copy of to our deck as well. So yeah, nonetheless, it's a pretty big Yordles and Arms style deck. It's a pretty straightforward deck list. The only thing that I will say is, the other big Yordles and Arms deck in the format is playing the copy of Teemo, and we just don't need that, right? We're already playing a ton of Piltover. There's no real reason to add Teemo to the deck, and then the Loping Telescope plus the Bomber Twins tends to be enough to really get our Yordles and Arms going. And so then as kind of a side point, as opposed from just the general strategies, I know the matchup table is hard to read when it's just on the site like this. I tried to do some like clicking around and editing, but I couldn't really do it to make it easier. We have been playing, a lot of Constructed these days and looking to really pick on Yuumi Pantheon here in the D column. And so I shouldn't say pick on it. We're looking to ban it and then pick on Vagar Senna. This is where we've been playing with kind of the Scouts plus Action Sivir plus something else, typically a Talia Ziggs. But I'm looking to say, well, what if we want to just ban Darkness? Can we do something similar to that? And that's where this is kind of starting to go. I do want to play a bit with Fizz Lulu. Has a terrible Darkness matchup. I want to play a bit with what was the other one? The Ezreal Caitlyn that we've been seeing a bit of in our gauntlets, and seeing if we can't do something like that. These are both decks that have pretty reasonable matchups against Yuumi Pantheon. I'm not really amped on that kind of idea, but that's where we're starting to move to, right? If we're going to play Fizz Lulu in a gauntlet, then what are we looking to pick on? That's going to be something like Yuumi Pantheon, where it's almost a 2-to-1 win rate. And then if we're really looking to stack on that kind of strategy, the next thing you're going to be kind of looking at is a Gnar Ziggs, right? This is something to where gets annihilated by darkness, has a really strong matchup against Yumi Pantheon, and then you have to find a third deck after that. And so that's something to keep in mind. We do have a gauntlet coming up, but we'll see if we look to play these decks. Probably going to just be playing the Scouts decks again. But nonetheless, you know what time it is. Before we get into battle, we do have to pay the pay-to-win lifestyle to pay up the pay-to-win gods, and we're getting pretty close. This deck is almost completely premium. I scrolled through it earlier because I thought I was completely premium, but we have 2 left, right? We got to get the Loping Telescope boosted, and then we have to get the Yordles in Arms boosted. But today we're going to boost up the Loping Telescope. I'm curious if this is going to survive the upcoming patch notes and nerfs to Bandle City, but we'll see. But for now, it's looking pretty good. He comes out here, he generates those other premium cards. It's just about as premium as it gets. And so, all right, let's jump in. I got to find the deck again. And good. We're making our way through Diamond. We've gotten 60 LP Diamond 3, looking to push through in the next few days. And so that's what we're going to be looking to do. Over the next week, we do have about a week before the new patch comes out, and I'd like to see if we can't get some of this good constructed stuff going. We only have 3 expeditions left, and so we gotta switch back to constructed sometime. But all right, as far as these openers go, I usually just want to keep units, and I want our units to cost less than 3. I find that unless you're trying to come out here and protect a Fizz, it's usually pretty tough to spend this mana on spells. And so I'm typically pretty happy just to mulligan them all away, try to spend our first 6 mana on units across the board. Here comes the Yordles in Arms. Cool. I think I want to lead with the Bomber Twins because I'm probably just going to open next turn. But one of the things that you will see is the Loping Telescope. You will often be able to pick up the 0-cost Challenger, which is quite good. Helps boost up your Lulus. It's something we're pretty happy to have access to. This guy playing Trundle Gnar. Okay, it's weird. It's weird seeing Trundle Gnar without the concurrent timelines. Our favorite ramp card. Everyone loves Faces of the Old Ones. They managed to hit. Let's see what we're getting ourselves into. Here, I would like to just completely fill out our board. I'm going to start with the scrap heap. I want to see if we can't find a cheaper... I guess as it stands, there's no like 1-cost Mecha Yordles, right? So we're not going to be able to play the scrap heap and the telescope, but I most certainly want to be playing... want to be playing Yordles in Arms next turn. But here, I'm kind of leaning towards the Bouncer and Bolt. It could get big enough to take down... Trundle. It would also be our second attack, so we could look to actually flip our Lulu here. This is fairly close. Maybe we just take the Mecha Forcer. Also works out pretty nicely in terms of, if we didn't have a Lulu on board, it's nice to be able to boost the Flame Chompers with the Mecha Forcer. It's kind of like a Lulu Part 2, if you will. All right, let's get in for that big combat. We're just going to end up killing out his board. It's not super awesome, but we should be able to win the game off of the next one. I guess the Lulu hook doesn't super matter, but I do want this this flame chompered spell shielded unit to be coming into the Trundle. Right, so we should chunk in for a handful of damage. He's going to lose both of his units. We're a little bit short on the burn, but we have a Yordles in Arms for the next attack. Curious if a deck like this plays Catalyst of the Aeons. Well, there's our answer. Looks like they're certainly playing it. And so we should be pretty safe. Like the thing that we would start to worry about would be something like Buried in the Ice, which they don't currently have the mana for, or something like the 8 mana 8/8 that AoEs for 3. So we currently don't have to worry about any of that stuff, but that's something to keep on the radar for a turn or two from now. Care about any of this? Blastcone Seedling has impact. Alright, I'm sure they can do something here, but pretty powerful looking board. Alright, I'm just going to boost our weaker units. Let's get the impact. Well, I don't want the impact bro to get hit with a frostbite of some sort. I don't think we lose this game too frequently anyways, but let's boost the vanilla unit and try and let the impact punch in. And we still have 3 burn in hand, so we just need to get in for 3 damage off of this one. Feeling pretty good about it. Boomed it. Nice. Mark it a 1-0, guys. Boom, the score is set. The victory has been had. Go us. Go. All right. And so, yeah, I'm not sure if, this is the kind of thing I want to take into the Gauntlet. I'm still, like, pretty happy with running around with the Suppressor Scouts and the Action Siver and the Talia Ziggs. I've just been really happy with that collection of archetypes. But it was pretty interesting in that... in the final battle of our last Prime Glory Gauntlet that we ran into, so just some dude that was like really heavily like favored against all of our archetypes, and kind of got me thinking. But it's like you don't run into scouts too frequently as we're running the gauntlets or on the ladder, which is kind of strange to me. I guess it's an older archetype, so people don't want to play it as much, but it's still quite powerful. Alright, it was this Twisted Fate Echo. The strategy that we took here was very similar, right? We held onto the Fizz and the Lulu. We traded away all of the spells. Not a great start, though. It's always a little awkward when we don't have any 2s. We have to worry extensively about the likes of Fizz and the 1-drops against a Twisted Fate deck. Do we trade the Lulu for the Baboon? I don't think I really like it. We can like wait a turn. We can just start going big. Like we can add the captain here. I was going to add another captain next turn and then perhaps get excited whatever blocks Lulu. We'll have a lot of potential. Not quite ready to Yordles in arms. We could. I mean, this board is about to get big. This is looking like a pretty good one. Oh, he's just going to Lost Riches? Okay. Okay. So he's going to have 3 dudes. He'll take like 16. That involves him also losing all of his units. That's not the worst place we've ever been. Take, what, 13? This is what I was talking about the other way that you that you tend to win. We didn't, like, end the game, but this game should be over at this point. We are looking quite powerful. Going to add the Yordle Captain. This is the best AoE survivor that we have. And then if we need to come in and deal with this a little bit better next turn, it's okay. Pretty tempting to just trade away Fizz, but I want to get like the Daring Poros on board, so we'll throw away a dude that just dies. Well, I guess we could have played around Keelbreaker. That's a thing we could have done. I think we're still okay, but it's fairly painful. What do we got? Here's the free one in the Serpent. What's this? Create a darkness in hand. If you don't have one, your next darkness costs 0, and it can go face. Okay, we'll pick up Destin Ada and then play her next turn. I think we can burn him out before he's able to kill us. Okay. Three mana left. We'll take the Pompous Cavalier. He's got a Flame Chompers in hand. We're not going to lethal this turn, but we should be able to chunk in a couple of damage. Ooh, drop border.
Okay. Want to make me a few extra boards? Yes!
Alright, we'll just bank. That deal damage to all enemy targets. Does that go face? I guess that would be a good thing to know. Who actually plays these darkness cards? I certainly don't. So we'll call this the Loping Telescope learning experience.
Man, I'm good.
Take us to 11. I don't think we have to worry about that damage. We could look to block with the Destin Ada, but it doesn't seem like super necessary. Alright, so this doesn't go face. It has been confirmed. That's not what the darkness does. That's okay. Gotta do it this round, though, right?
Deal me in.
Blue card. You got it.
Soak it in.
Alright, so our strategy is a little bit off. the cards didn't exactly work how I thought it was going to work. Jesus, a 3-mana progress stay? Oh, that's what he hit off of the Great Mirai Warden. It's not bad, my dude. It's not bad. Alright. Shouldn't be any lifesteal out of these decks or life gain. We'll just go ahead and send it to the face. Save ourselves a bit of time. Sure. Alright, keep playing these cards. I'm sure it'll be relevant one day. Got that flip Twisted Fate, I guess that's a thing. Haven't seen one of those in years. Poor Steve. Don't call me Steve, Ma. The name's Twisted Fate. Sure.
I'm a people person.
There it is. Mark it at 2-0. So yeah, man, I do have my one of my Chiefs hoodies on. I can't say my Chiefs hoodie. We have multiples of them. That was wild seeing Tyreek Hill leave. He got traded yesterday for you all. That was I wasn't like ultra surprised. It was kind of like as Mahomes comes into his paydays. He's not getting super paid just yet. He's getting paid like $35 million this year, but he's not making that Aaron Rodgers money that just completely wrecks your team's salary cap. But I always felt like Tyreek Hill was going to be the one that didn't survive the Mahomesian upgrade, if you will, and so that turned out to be what happened this week, and it turned out. I thought it was, a pretty decent deal. It's unfortunate to see him go. He was so successful here on the team, but I figure if he's going to go out there and try and get that Devontae Adams money, that he wasn't gonna last too long, and that's what happened. So at least he got a similar amount of trade picks or draft picks as we got as Devontae Adams got as well, and so. Sad to see him go, but Hopefully it works out. All right, back to the game here. Things here are looking pretty decent. This might actually be a space to where we like Mystic Shot the Financier. Just depends on what they show. We don't have the we don't have a Lulu based draw here to boost the Flame Chompers, so might need to kill it just to get it off the board. Kind of the same deal still. Like if we Mystic Shot the 3/2, we can hook the Financier with the Flame Chompers and chunk in for 7. Oh my god. Go. Go. All right, that was a struggle. Cats being cats. You gotta scratch at the door to try and get in, and then scratch at the door to get back out. Here, since we lost the unit, we shouldn't attack with the Urchin, right? We have the 2 Yordles in arms in hand. There's no reason to throw the units away when we're about to just pop off. So we'll let that go. Jace picking up Challengers, kind of awkward, but whatever. Going to be able to take down Fizz. Maybe we don't, and well, probably Yordles in arms next turn because we have 2, but it's not a big deal. And this is a great bank for us. That's a great one. We only lose out on 1 mana, and he doesn't make any attacks. Pretty good. Coming out of hand here, we don't want the Bright Steel, it's too expensive. We're just going to win with the Yordles in arms. I was hoping to hit a 0 or a 1 cost Celestial, which we completely whiffed on, but I don't think the quick attack out of the Mushroom thing is too important. We'll just take the Messenger. Cat wants back in now, scratching on the door again. These little dum-dums. Oh my god. Gotta be fucking kidding me. Scratches on the door, you open it, she just walks away. It's the one that doesn't hang out on the stream. It's not one of the little black kitties. It's the one I've had forever. Being a little pissant. But here, this is fine. You know, we weren't expecting to win the game this turn. We at least get to chunk in a ton of damage. He just spent a bunch of cards on what was essentially generated cards, right? He played a Mystic Shot and a single combat on a Loping Telescope and a Flame Chompers. And so that all in all feels just like a pretty big win. As we can refill right again with the Loping Telescope.
Everywhere I go, the light follows.
Do we care about the stats? Like, if we play the Yordle Captain, then we can start to boost our other units. Well, I guess we have to worry about this Jace being on board. Let's play the Telescope. I don't care if we trade this away. I think we just want the Proto-Poro because it's cheap. Now, his hooks with Jace are all garbage. You can hook the Messenger if you would like. It's like, then we'll have to stop here. Okay, you can take down Fizz. The number of Fs we were getting right around 0. Okay. Let's see if we pick up a cheap bro. Could be okay with the scrap heap. I'm going to discard the captain here. I don't think he's going to be that spectacular. Now we have 8 mana. We needed something 3 or less. I think I'm just going to go with the Smash and Dash and the double impact. So we'll be hitting for 3 impact out of this turn. I'm not sure how likely opponent is to fill out their board. I mean, we've got the archetype pulled up here. Like, they can play like Pharaoh's Financiers and such, but I don't think we have too much to worry about. Full board, but he loses his Lux. Okay. Oh, the Lux can actually block our little impact bro. And look at these shirtless wonders. Look at this guy. He's been hanging out at the forge and then hanging out at the gym. Dude's ripped as F. His X-Tech belt buckles covers his dong. It's, it's just everything's so heavy. All right. Let's see. The final spark will come in and kill something. We're still in a pretty powerful spot, though.
A beacon through the dark.
If it, like, really comes down to it, like if he puts another assembly thing on the stack, we can get Excited Lux away, so we don't have to worry about her, but... Progress day, though. Got our big boy. Alright, now slightly awkward. I think we just pass and look to play the treasured trash. I don't think we're at any risk of dying soon, but our board is like very brittle, and so it's like if opponent has just any interactive spell or something, we're gonna start to run into some trouble. So we'll get to draw 6 cards off of the treasured trash. Maybe we can play something big with it. How big did we roll? Ethereal Remitter's good. Howling Abyss is kind of cool. Create a copy in hand other than Zephyr Sage. Alright, we can start. It's like, how completely wide can we get? And then do we, like, we can play 3 units off of this, right? No, we only have 2 units in here. The Zephyr Sage and Remitter. But can we just copy the Remitter and have him cost 0 mana? Exact copy. Okay.
You could be so much more.
What he's holding on to for 6 mana. It's an odd space to see him come down and pass.
One life in exchange for
But alright, we're done playing cards. That's all we get to do. We should be ready to burn him out next turn, but... I'm curious if we ever shouldn't have just say, like, well, the Zephyr Sages and Co. cost 0, so that worked out okay, I guess. I was curious if we should have ever just, like, leveled up a singular unit to shoot for, like, a 10-10 or something. Like, see if we can't hit Cythria, Lady of the Clouds, or if you can... I don't know if you can, like, roll into the Scourge with this. I don't know if I've seen a Celestial, but... Lots of power. Take him to 3. Should do it.
what are you hiding?
Need clearance, pal.
Is this a single combat? Alright. Well, he's down to 1 card and a 4 Demacia. I think we're in pretty good shape here. I've had, like, I don't know, kind of... Oh, he's cast the spell. I've had kind of, like, mixed feelings about that Trash for Treasure. That one was pretty okay. Sure. But, like, I've definitely run into Trash for Treasures to where it felt like the most expensive free card we drew was, like, 3 cost. And so, it's definitely a bit of RNG to it. But, like, you know, getting to draw 7 cards is pretty strong, right? We got to play, like, a 6 and a 5 and a 5 off of it. So, not that bad. All right, up to 3 wins. Driving right on up to the Masters. I think we're in Diamond. I got confused by the platinum symbol and the diamond signal for a long time, and so it's like I never really put in the grind to get into Masters. I haven't hit Masters yet on here. It was like I tried in like the first season for a little bit, maybe for like 2 weeks, and then I just wanted to play. I just wanted to play Expedition from that point forward, and so didn't really mess with it that much. But this will be the first time we actually try to make a run and get up in there. I wonder how it would have gone if we had the ranked expedition. I never really felt like I'm ever the quality of player to get right up at the top, but we could have made a good run. I feel like my strategies are good and stuff. All right, no plays from opponent. It's this is one of these matchups we talk about this quite a bit in Expedition and facing the Pantheon decks, and if you're willing to just like throw stats in front of the Saga Seeker. And this is one of these spaces to where it's like I'm kind of okay with throwing stats at it because we're looking to make this this what do you call it? Flame Chompers plus Lulu kind of play.
My shield is yours.
But it feels like we'll be able to just attack around it. We shouldn't have any trouble getting wide here. We do need to find the Yordles and arms to make this work, but I think it's okay. I do want to go ahead and Poro Cannon. Well, we can bank 2. That doesn't seem terrible. It just kind of like forces us to play the Mystic Shot, though. And we're going to have 4 mana next turn. Let's do this. Let's go ahead and play the cannon. Well, if we want to bank the mana, like if he, it's tough, right? If he wants to block the Lulu with the Bright Steel, then it is nice to be able to Mystic Shot the Bright Steel, but they play like so many combat tricks in this deck, you can't realistically expect the Mystic Shot to get the job done. I kind of just want to play another unit. And this is awkward. I feel like we like have to attack this turn. So it's like we lose out on the good hooks from the Saga Seeker. But he has too much mana. Maybe without a Yordles in arms, this is just so awkward. All right. Well, I think I do want to hang on to this. I want to hang on to this Mystic Shot, assuming his angle here is to play like double +1/+2. I want to at least be able to take one of these Bright Steels off of the board so that we can continue our aggression. I assume that that's what's going to be coming in here. Right, so we play this, he plays double +1/+2. He loses a unit, this Bright Steel in the middle survives. We get in for 7. Targon Shield, sure. Same deal. We got what we were expecting here. Chunked in a lot of damage, now we can kind of switch to the elusive plan. And then if we draw Yordles in arms, the game should just be done. But I don't feel like he's really that scary until he drops an Overwhelm, right? We can, even if he puts like Yuumi onto the Saga Seeker, it's not that scary. Have the potential to try and take Pantheon down with the Pokey Stick. Might be worth going for. Let's say he has a trick here frequently as well, but we're going to be able to get fully wide next turn. Alright, prevent that point of damage. Man, do we ever get a rally kill with Fizz? Gotta get to 13? I doubt it, but it's something to keep on the radar. This is the problem, though. We should have blocked his Saga Seeker with the Boom Baboon. There's like two things going on with this, right? He's gonna flip his Pantheon, which is a little scary. God, do we have to go for the Get Excited now? We can't lethal him with our elusives. Fuck, this fails so often. Yep. We're gonna take like 1,000,000. Ugh. Alright. That was a little unfortunate. That was the one we would have won that essentially immediately with the Yordles in arms, but we just didn't draw one and weren't able to get around there. We could have done that a little differently, but I don't feel like that was one of those games to where we wanted to just be throwing stats in front of his units. And I think it probably would have been a little different as well if we had like a telescope or another like value generating unit that wasn't Boom Baboon to do some of the blocking there. But it's okay. All right, on to the next one. I guess you can't win 100% of them, right? But you do miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So yeah, I'm glad we at least took a shot there. Yeah, it's wild. We talked about the expeditions. We got 3 left. We'll be at 500, and then we're gonna call it quit. They're going away in May, but we're gonna stop before then. It's so bittersweet. It's so fun. It sucks to know that it's going away. I wish they could have done something to draw more attention to it. I feel like it's really one of the best limited formats that's ever been made. But popularity wasn't there. Wasn't what the people requested. Okay, so same deal as before. Like when I have hands like this, I'm sometimes interested in it and just keeping like one telescope and looking for our more relevant cards. Up against Ezreal Caitlyn, I think I'm pretty okay with that. They tend to like this matchup tends to fall a lot to if they're able to just like get us with their 1 damage spells. Like if they're able to, like kill 2 things with Static Shock and then play a like some flashbang traps and kill something with the trap and stuff, like a bunch of annoying things like that. They can usually get you, but I think this is okay. We're on the even, so we can't attack with Lulu next turn. And then we can go into turn 4 ready to set up a powerful board. Can't tell if he's trying to bait us or not, but we need to get the dudes on board either way. So it's like ideally here, we'll be able to scrap heap away the Flame Chompers and then just have a good Mecha Yordle on board as well. And so if we have the Lulu, the boost onto the Flame Chompers and then the scrap heap, quite powerful. Opponent says we're not allowed to do it, but that would have been a really high-powered turn if he didn't have a removal there. What do we got? The Geode Mechaforcer does, the similar thing in that it boosts the spell-shielded unit, but is this going to pull his deck list up? No. There's not a ton of targets for it, right? The important hits out of the opponent's deck are Ezreal and Caitlyn, and the +2/+2 doesn't kill either of them unless we also use the Mystic Shot, which is tempting on its own, but I'm looking more towards this Fury Horn Crasher and then just boosting all of the units in our deck. I think this is the way I want to go. Let's drop it. That sequencing may be wrong. I'm just kind of envisioning, like, well, what if opponent plays like another cheap or small unit and then we're able to Mystic Shot through? Which holds true here, but can't take down the Sentry. I feel like he's probably going to have the Ravenous Flock on us now. Coming out here, I think we have to take the Messenger. The Grumble Slug is always nice, but we don't have enough spell-based things in hand to want it. Brutal. All these removals have been tough. Interesting. Doesn't accept the trade. Is there gonna be a 1 damage in our future? That's what that reeks of.
Hang on. We're rolling.
Okay. And I think I want to go ahead and get a dude down. If we want to fill out our board next turn, can't do that with spell mana. So I think this is okay. Does open this up to like a getting hit by a static shock, but I don't think that's too huge at this moment. Of course, yeah. How sick would this have been now that we picked up the Yordles in arms if we'd been able to have that additional unit? I don't think we'll be going for it here. It just feels a little bit too risky. We'll attack with what we have. He's going to trade for our bomber twins. We can refill, and then we should be able to attack with either 5 or 6 units on the next turn. Mystic shot, sure. The urchin. Ugh. How bad is this gonna be? This does not seem ideal. Let's cycle this Pokestick first. He may not just like want to be playing units because of the Rockfall path. Like if he just has the 1 unit, then he's not going to do it. We can spew now that we picked up the treasured trash. Get excited. That was not a good draw. It was just like literal any unit would have been what we were looking for. Alright, so let's play the Daring Poro, and then maybe we do switch to playing the Treasured Trash. It just feels like if we go for a Yordles in arms, he's going to just blow up like 2 or 3 of our dudes, and it's not going to be worthwhile. Like if we had like a Fizz and a Lulu and a Yordle Captain or something on board, and we had some like stats, I would feel pretty safe, but this just feels like the space to where he's going to just kill all of our units if we play Yordles in arms. Alright, what's this draw 6 got for us? It looked pretty terrible. Kahiri is a 4/4. See, this is kind of my problem with this card, right? We hit a 3, a 4, and that's kind of it. There is the Preservarium in here, which is kind of nice, but not ideal by any means. I think we'll stop here. If he's like, he's clearly gonna like play a spell this turn, so we might want to Nopify. But I think we'll probably just follow up with the Preservarium. Does that even sound okay? We can add a Tusk Speaker here. He seems better than adding Chip. Alright, spells are done. We are allowed no more. But I would say he'll like kill the Tusk Raider, get like a block onto the Noble Rebel, and if that's the end of it, he's still gonna take like 10. Which is pretty cool. He's probably got like 1 spell left in him. If he has like a get excited to take down the 5/3, that kind of sucks, but we're getting a healthy chunk in. Static Shock, okay. Take him to 5. But exactly why I didn't want to play the Yordles in arms, right? We would have just completely gotten blown up there. We would have played it and literally had all of our units get killed. So now if he has an Ezreal, we're gonna be hurting, but if we're able to just get a full board, it shouldn't be too scary. Leaning towards Mountain Drake here. We can't. The unfortunate thing is like we can't play Mountain Drake and Lulu, but I want to have the stats on the board. So, what can we like realistically do next turn? If we say get excited, the Caitlyn, he's gonna have 2 blocks. I think we just like run out. Oh my gosh. Okay, that at least wasn't like horrible, horrible, horrible. Here comes some of the burns. Oh wow, 3 spells, huh? Okay. Stop and pause. See how horrible this is. Oh, we're going to play 4 spells. Okay. Wow. Insane. Mystic Shot. Mystic Shot doesn't kill the Noble Rebel.
Peacemaker protocol.
Interesting. So he's gonna have like a... he's gonna have like a Scorched Earth in hand. Okay. So we'll full clear his board. It's a little awkward having the Lulu after the fact, but I think this is okay. Like we could have played the Lulu and had her involved in the Yordles in arms. It is just I didn't want to be in the space to where a opponent gets to play a bunch of stuff, right? So if he has the opportunity to play like Arachnoid Sentry, that starts to be fairly awkward, and so I wanted to be as close to an open as we could have. At least he did have to play like 5 spells last turn before before Ezreal hit the board, but a little worrisome. We're going to get burned out now. And so what I'm thinking now is, I mean, I want to get excited this turn. I don't think our Yordles in arms is going to do anything. Like, he's going to Mystic Shot our Boom Baboon. We're going to take a couple of damage. We could just play it, but I think we're going to just have to count on like some burn to face actually working here. So we can draw the Mystic Shot. We can draw Get Excited. Maybe something would happen if we drew like a Fizz and we could give him Elusive, but I think we're kind of on the must draw burn now plan. Maybe this would be a little different if we still had the Lulu, but... Okay. Close. But yeah, that's what you'll kind of run into with that matchup. It's not horrible. That was, you know, one of the worst ways that the Caitlyn deck will kind of go, where he played like 2 Static Shocks and they hit. We lost 2 units to Flashbang Traps. But if it's just like your draw gets sequenced to where you're able to get some of your larger units on the board, then it's a pretty easy win. And then if we, you know, we played our 10 mana spell and it was pretty garbage that game. So that was a little bit unfortunate as well. When you draw 6 and the most expensive one you get to play is a 4. So it is what it is. I think it's again like not a great matchup, but it's certainly probably like a coin flip. All right, let's get ourselves 3 more games in. We'll get in 8 games today for your all's viewing pleasure. and then we'll call it a day. Not a bad little Wednesday for you all. Is it a Wednesday? Thursday? All right, so Darkness. This is a not good match. It's like I never want to keep Yordles in arms, but I know how important it is here. It's like I've been somewhat tempted to keep it, but it's like I know that we shouldn't, and so we'll let that one go. Let's see what we can do here. I think I'm good to just like throw out the Fizz. I think we'll have to open. Like I don't want to just trade with whatever like the 3/2 strike thing is. But I think this is good here. It's also nice we just drew the Mystic Shot so we could potentially protect our Fizz from spells. Serpent. This is usually my favorite one to pick up out of this, but I'm leaning towards picking up the Blastcone Seedling to have the barrier. But he's pretty good on this board if we're able to hook the Telescope out of combat as we're loading up the board with tons of 1 health units. I think that's okay. When it took Messenger. Leaning towards the Trickster here. Should be tough for him to block. Gonna lose our Fizz. What? Oh, we had the Poro Cannon. I guess that makes sense. It is a little dangerous to go for it that way. Okay. Now I'm just leaning towards doing stuff with the Yordle Captain. So it's like we can play the Captain. The Serpent will now be boosted because of him. We can look to take down the Spiderling and feel pretty safe about it. We get to discard the Poro, use the Poro Cannon here. I think it's fine just to discard the Baboon. We miss out on the we miss out on the dude, but he's not going to deal damage on this board. Let's do this. Let's just leave the Yordle Captain back. Like, realistically, all we're going to be doing from this point forward is punching in with these elusives. And so we might as well let the Trickster and the Daring Poros get the bonuses as opposed to, coming out in front of the Messenger and then having our Yordle Captain die to a Darkness. So many elusives. Oof. That's the stuff, am I right? It's going to be a spell targeting Fizz. Oh, the Withering Wail. Okay. Still a ton of damage. Should have stopped and checked the math on that Darkness, but I think this is okay. We're taking him to 0, getting him for exacties. Rip. And that's how you beat Darkness, right? That's why I was kind of like tempted to keep the Yordles in arms. You have to have games like that if you actually want to beat the deck, but it's such a bad card. But that's not true. It's not a bad card. It's just not. It's not good if the opponent has those draws to where they're just like, oh, here's a bunch of of the 2/1 that comes back and Vile Feasts and all that stuff. It can be really tough to attack through their board since none of our dudes have Overwhelm. But we won that one. That's why nothing is a 100% win rate. Okay, the old mirror match. We should be about 100% win rate in this. And so this is fine. I like hanging on to the value units, and again, I don't like to keep the spells. It's just a little too awkward. We don't find a lot of opportunities to throw these down.
Anything helps.
Dude already had his chompers. The telescope. Okay. Hopefully he doesn't get the Yordles in arms advantage on us. He's played 3 factions up to this point, so he's going to be pretty close to dropping it.
Sun rock got me good.
This is interesting. We can pick on this board a little bit.
Oh boy, here I go.
All of our cards are premium, and this dude doesn't have any, so... It should feel much worse for him. And I'm going to offer up everything to trade here. If he's... Well, ooh, he doesn't have the mana to Yordles in arms, though.
Tide's coming in. Anything helps.
Okay. We'll just send it all in. I'm gonna put the Flame Chompers out here just so he doesn't have, like, the option, right? We'll just take the option to block with Flame Chompers away from him. And then go for the trades. I think it's fine. Okay, here I'm just gonna take the damage. We're gonna go for the spell next turn.
Anything helps.
Another one. Oh man, that wasn't boosted. I think it's still good, but I was expecting to get +4/+4 out of this. What are we short? E and Z. You need a telescope or a the Bomber Twins. Still okay. We're gonna crush his board here. We want to leave this back. I mean, it's just gonna come in and block the hothead anyways. I think this is fine. Not as good as I was hoping. We definitely wanted to be wanted to be at +4/+4 here, but it's not horrible. We'll get there this turn. Got a lot of scary potential here. We're gonna have to block with our Fizz. Otherwise, he's got one spell. Oh, that is scary. We have so many cards, though. This has to be good. We're gonna take the hit from Lulu. We're not gonna be able to get a big Yordles in arms, but we have 4 cards to their 2. And then if we don't lose our Lulu, we have the potential for Whimsies next turn, which could be quite important. It's kind of scary that his Lulu has elusive. You can't Whimsy a champion, but let's see. Kind of out of burn range. That was bad. Flame Chompers is pretty painful here. There's no real reason. Well, there is a reason to attack with the Lulu because it protects our dude. I think this attack's still okay. We get the trade. We can't do anything about Lulu anyways. We leave our Lulu back in case we have to whimsy. Okay. But yeah, he's definitely getting the good hook into our Lulu. Oh yeah, Frozen Thrall.
A hero stands, he sits before you.
This silences, right? Transform a follower into a 1/1 squirrel and silence it. We survived that, right? this isn't one of these things to where it doesn't take its whole way through. All right, scary place to be. So we should be able to get the Lulu off of the board this turn. It's just we can't win the game this turn. And Hugify. Alright, well we're ahead. Sort of. As long as, we're definitely ahead on board and cards in hand. As long as we don't get burned out, we should be able to take this one down.
Are you ready? Let's take it for a spin.
Okay? I don't think we care about that. Nice. $54-2. There we go. Close. All right, and our last battle. It's been a nice collection of games. I've enjoyed it. Let's see how this last one goes as we battle through Diamond 2. Some of these people were in Masters. I mean, it puts the little thing on top of the deck tracker, and so in my experience, at least in Hearthstone, was that there wasn't a ton of difference between like the people at rank 5 and the people in Masters. Maybe like you have to discount rank 5 because it's easy to get there, but like once you got into like rank 3 and rank 2, everyone was just the same as people in Masters. It was just a matter of whether or not they put the time in to get there. But then, I mean, there was definitely a difference between people that were like inside the top 200 and then inside the top 1,000 or so. But there's not a big difference between the dumpster legends and the people that are at the high rank. So I'd say the same things here. All these people in Diamond at Masters, if they put the time into it. Right, reasonable enough start here. We mulliganed away our Mystic Shot and has said, "Nah, man, I want to be a part of the action. I'm not going away." So got it right back. Trundle Lysandra. Let's have their list on here. Just tons of removal deck. That's usually what you're playing against when you see these factions. Yeah, let's go with the Grumble Slug. Pick up a dude with some stats, some health above 1. Is like there's spectral matrons and stuff in this? I don't exactly get what the combo is. Like, is it trying to bury it in the ice and then passage unearned? Alright, well, we played 3 units. We might get popped by the box this turn, but we're pretty big on board otherwise. All right. We dealt some damages. Still, this feels like one of these games where if he had like the Withering Wail, it would have just immediately ended, but he doesn't seem to have it. I'm gonna send Pokestick Face. I don't want to like miss out on mana this turn, but I also don't want to be putting units on the board. We can be in like a pretty decent space next turn anyways. It's tempting to just drop Lulu. If we're gonna say, like next turn, play Yordle Captain, we're gonna play the Urchin, discard the Flame Chompers, that's our 5 mana. And it leaves us in a space to where we can open. Now we still have the Slug and the Lulu on board. I think it's okay. That's less ideal.
Follow me. I know where I'm going.
Gross. That's less ideal. He does have all the AoEs. Just in the different form. Uh-oh. Making no plays, that's always scary. I'm gonna send the Pokestick to face and see if we don't draw another unit. We got 5 burn in hand. If we pick up a 2-drop here, I mean that's a lot of damage we can get through. Okay. It's like we don't have to worry about him playing a unit, right? We can just put the unit and the Flame Chompers. That it's like weird not seeing the box in the list over here, but I mean otherwise we get to chunk in a handful of damage. It should be good enough to end it. This the Withering Wail. Come on, bud. Come on, bud. And Entomb. Okay. Well, we got 5 damage on board and 5 damage in hand, so that might be enough to end it. Maybe they'll tap out for something irrelevant. It's one of our favorite plays to see. The old tap out for something that doesn't matter. Passage unearned. So what could he do to get out of this? He could Vile Feast.
Well, this isn't the glade.
Okay. Well, let's get this attack in.
They won't like this.
Does it like we were like 1 short. Oh, he surrendered anyways. We got it. Okay, okay. So not a bad little day at the office. Hitting the 6-2, 75% win rate. Pretty awesome, right? The best that it could be. And so, yeah, I mean, I maybe played like, I don't know, 5 or 10 games before this, closer to 10 than 5, and then we got that 8 in. It felt pretty reasonable and decent in terms of the cards in here. And then the things that I always run into, it's like, I just don't like the burn package in here. Like, I don't know how much of this you can get away from. Like, in terms of like the cards, I'm happy with all of the units, right? I could see maybe like removing 1 Flame Chompers or something, but you definitely want a non-zero number of Flame Chompers. It's such a powerful start when you actually have like the Urchin, and then we do have, you know, the various discard cards to try and take advantage of it with. But that is like a common one, just get like clogged in your hand and have nothing to do with. And then I'm also kind of interested in like not completely cutting Get Excited, but maybe cutting it down to 2. But it's like I think I would feel like okay to cut a Get Excited for a Scrap Heap. But then it's like the big thing with the Scrap Heap is I always want to have Flame Chompers with the Scrap Heap because that's the +2/+2 spell shield one is so relevant in these games. And so the way I've always kind of seen it is like you either land on hopefully like the 4/4. Like if you're specifically looking for units, you tend to find the 4/4 double impact. You find the support +2/+2 spell shield. And then if you're just looking for a 2-drop, you take whatever else is there. But all of those are so incredibly powerful. I've been pretty happy to have access to the Scrap Heap. And so that's what I was like kind of looking at in terms of this list is it's like, well, if I want to add in Scrap Heap. I don't want to cut Flame Chompers, but I do kind of want to get rid of one Get Excited. But I wouldn't fault you for keeping it how it is. It would be nice if there was a replacement for Treasured Trash as well. That's like I don't want to play like Progress Day. That sounds kind of awkward and bad. Like I get what Treasured Trash does, but it's a bit of a high roll. We played it twice here today. Right, the one we played a 6 and a 5, but we only got to play the second 5 because the 6 made a copy, and then the other game our max was a 4, and so it could be pretty tough to actually get your 10 mana of value out of it. But as far as the deck goes, otherwise, I think it's probably fine and okay. And then again, we were looking at this in terms of our standard gauntlet strategy these days has been to just ban Yuumi Pantheon and then play decks that are good against darkness, right? So we're usually playing Scouts, which you see at 58% to get darkness. We play Sivir Action, has it at 58% against darkness, and then we've been playing Talia Ziggs, the strongest of them all at 60%. And then just banning Yuumi Pantheon. But if we start to think like, well, what if we want to just ban darkness, right? I like the idea of like letting darkness ride because you do run into like a lot of similar decks. Just real Shadow Isles heavy control decks you can kind of all lump together as darkness, like that deck we just played there. That's kind of similar to playing darkness, but just not as good. But if you want to switch to say like what else is like Yuumi Pantheon, there isn't anything, and so it's like it just feels so good to me to be able to ban Yuumi Pantheon. But if we aren't going to do that, then what's our next step? We're probably looking to ban darkness, and so that's what I was seeing with the Fizz Lulu. Right, this is fairly bad against darkness, just at the 45% win rate, but then it's very strong against both Lurkers and Yuumi Pantheon. Those are the next two really common decks. It's good against all of the Gnar decks, and then it has basically a 50-50 matchup against all of the Scouts type aggro decks. And so it's an interesting space to be in terms of taking to Gauntlet if we let the Yuumi Pantheon deck live. But then it also gets me in that space of thinking as to like when we're looking at the gauntlets in terms of picking on darkness, there's like 4 or 5 decks that were viable, right? We were really happy with Quinn Misfortune. We were really happy with Action Sivir. And then we were kind of like flopping around between Talia Ziggs and another deck. But if you're looking to like take this archetype and apply it here, there's just not enough good decks to on like the ban darkness plan, right? You can switch up here and play Gnar Ziggs, but then you're going to be stuck playing something fairly weak after that. You would probably find yourself playing Lurkers as your third deck if you were looking to do what's it called? There's so many names to remember. Fizz Lulu, Gnar Ziggs, and then you'd probably play Pike Rek'Sai for the Lurkers. But nonetheless, some food for thought as we play Constructed here for the next few days. But at the end of the day, that is going to do it for us. So I hope you learned how to support your friends a little bit better. Maybe learned a thing or two along the way. Had a good time watching. This is Bust, and we thank you for being here.